Hey, it's Chronologically Gaming, the only channel that's perpetually retro because we're playing every video game in order of release. The only place where you'll find someone crazy enough to stream Nintendo's Game & Watch on Twitch. We last left off with the amazing, best, I would say one of the best games you could play on your home console at the time, Missile Command for the Atari 2600. Welcome everybody to 1981. It is July, and our next game is another one for the Atari 2600. This is Freeway by Activision, the newest release by Activision. Let's see what the artwork's like for Freeway. There we go. It is Freeway, Chicken Crossing the Road. I actually am not familiar with this one, but I have heard that it was based on, or at least the first prototype was called Bloody Human Freeway, and they had to change it for Chicken Crossing the Road. Oh no, at the same time? If you can, let us know. All right, so there's a reconstructed box for Freeway. If you look at the back of the box, this game is not as simple as it looks. Select any one of the 8 traffic patterns inspired by the most treacherous traffic you'll ever encounter on the nation's highways. Traffic flow varies from a few slow-moving autos to frantic rush hour intensity, complete with blaring horns and roaring engines. Everything except exhaust. Test your agility, cunning, and courage by helping your daredevil chicken cross the freeway. It's the chicken cross the road story, basically. And there's a reconstructed back of the box. Do we have anything? Yes, advertisement flyer by Activision. Are you chicken enough to play Freeway? That chicken is awesome looking. Freeway by Activision for use on your Atari or Sears video game system. And anything else we have for artwork? Yes, the cartridge. Conceived and designed by David Crane. Another one by David Crane. For 1 or 2 controllers. Games, we have 8 games on this one. Activision doesn't really go as high as Atari. Atari goes 118 game variations. And we have different speeds as well for this. Pretty cool. Okay, so let's take a look at the manual for Freeway by Activision. There's the classic Activision rainbow. They try to sneak it in on all their games. If you think driving on the freeway is intense, wait till you cross it on foot. Your challenge is to guide a chicken across 10 lanes of the most perilous freeway traffic imaginable. Be careful because those speeding cars and trucks don't break for animals. So before you start the chicken cross the road, take a minute to read these Do you really need instructions for Freeway? At least the video snapshot we just looked at didn't seem like we needed that. So you hook up the system, put the control. We got difficulty switches down to B, which is the down position. And we have 8 different games. Oh, nice. So it's different places. Each game is Lakeshore Drive, Interstate 5. So you can do Chicago, Seattle, Los Angeles, San Francisco, Detroit, Washington, Dallas, New York, and we have special features too. The controls, yeah, control sticks moves up and down. It looked like it was almost doing a Frogger kind of style, or at least view. And then difficulty switches. Up makes the chicken return to the curb if you're struck by a vehicle. And then the other one goes you all the way to the beginning. And then they have scoring and timing. Special features. When the reset buttons press, the traffic of the game you've selected begins to move. This is accompanied by sounds associated with typical Freeway, the drone of auto and truck engines. Should your chicken get hit, he'll chirp and be knocked back either one lane or all the way to the beginning, depending on how your difficulty switch is set. And then there you go. It shows the different game variations. Wow, it's so detailed for something that's kind of simple. It looks like it's just giving, where the different locales for the different game variations are going to be. That's pretty cool. And then they give you some tips and tricks like they do with the other games we've seen for the manual. And then Activision wants to recognize your traffic dodging achievements. Yes, here it is. If you successfully guide your chicken through 20 times, either game 3 or 7, you become an official member of the Activision Save the Chicken Foundation. Send us a picture of your TV screen, which was very difficult to do at the time. You had to get the lighting correct. And all the film was needed to be developed. So if you took a bad picture, then that's it. And there he is, David Crane. Oh, he's a lot happier now. Last time we saw him, he was just making a normal face. But David Crane's happy. That's great. Designer of Dragster, Fishing Derby, and Laser Blast by Activision. As usual, Freeway is, you will still have to employ some tired and true game skills to do well at it. For instance, you have to become familiar with different traffic patterns. Drop me a line. I'd like to hear your exploits. David Crane. Too cool. Okay, so different versions we have. European version, alternate versions, 32-in-1. aka Rabbits, CCE company that made it, and then Dactar. We're going to play the original first North American release. This is July 15th, 1981, and we're playing Freeway by Activision. And there we go. We'll play for the first time, first game mode, which I believe was Los Angeles. All right, so hitting reset, and there we go. It looks like, let me plug the other controller in. Is this 2? Can I move both? Oh, I can. So both players are able to go across. So I'm on the left side as the chicken crossing the road. All I can do is move up and down. So not the freedom I was expecting from Frogger, but you get to the top, you get a point, and then you go again, moving the chicken across the road. You have to memorize different traffic patterns, I guess, but that's it. It's just moving up or down. I cannot move left and right. I actually thought I had more freedom, like in Frogger. But nope, that's it. Let's try game mode 2. It didn't change the locale. They're telling us it's Chicago or Dallas or different places like that, but all it's doing is changing what different traffic patterns you're gonna see. So once you memorize those, then you can make your way across the street, and you play with 2 people. It would be fun to do that. You challenge someone else to see who can get across and get the most points. Yes. Oh, it doesn't splatter the chicken. I'm on game mode, I think B, the easy one, so it only brings me back a lane. I really wanted to see the chicken get splattered, but nope, not gonna happen. And you make it across, you go to the next one. Let's see a different game mode. So here we go. We're picking different locales, but all it's changing is the traffic patterns. Yeah, it does look like Crossy Road I saw in the chat. It wasn't just Frogger, but this one is a lot more simplistic. Yeah, so it's just, once you get the traffic patterns down, you go to the other side. It'd be fun to play with someone else to challenge, but not too complicated. And then let's go for another one. Oh, mostly semis. Nice. Oh, that's pretty cool. But still, you can see we're making it across once you memorize the traffic patterns. All right, so what about 5? 5 looks slower paced. Oh, except that one car in the fast lane. I like how they split it apart with the double yellow lines. And then let's try game mode 6. Yep, more of the same, just changing up what cars are there. We got 7, which I believe was the one for the challenge. The Save the Chicken Foundation from Activision. And then game mode 8, and that's it. So 8 different game modes. Now, I was expecting something closer to Frogger, and it couldn't have been because we just saw Frogger a month or 2 ago. So for this to be exactly like Frogger would have been really bizarre that David Crane would have programmed this in. This actually reminds me more of a game we played in the 70s. I think it was 73 or 74 called Space Race, where all you did with 2 people playing the arcade game is one person on either side took a rocket and tried to go to the top of the screen without being hit by asteroids. It's essentially the same thing. So not super impressive. It is a new coat of paint of Space Race or games like that, because there was also standalone consoles that played this kind of game variation. It was a really popular kind of way to play in the 70s. So with that, it is, it's not really average. I'd give it slightly below, maybe 2.5 stars, because it does sound good for the traffic, but different game variations aren't really up to snuff. So I'm going to go just slightly below average, 2.5 stars for Freeway. All right, so after Freeway, what is our next game? All right, the newest Nintendo Game & Watch. They have been kicking the arcades up a notch with Donkey Kong, and now we're still in the handhelds. And let's take a look at Octopus, the newest Nintendo Game & Watch. So there we go, the front of the box. The one we're going to be playing will be the Japanese release, the first one, and there's a reconstructed box for Octopus. I'm very familiar with Octopus from Super Smash Brothers. It's one of the Smashes, it's the ultimate Smash for Mr. Game & Watch, which we've kind of seen him, but not really the actual Mr. Game & Watch. And there you go. There's some other examples of games we've seen Parachute. We have not seen Popeye or Chef yet, but we will. Oh yes, we will. All right, and there's the example of the handheld itself. No manual, but it's Game & Watch. Let's put it in the palm of our hand. It's July 16th, 1981. And this is the newest Nintendo Game & Watch. So just like we did before, we have 2 buttons on either side. And whether you can see me over here or over there, I'm kind of blocking one of the buttons. But I still can move the buttons left and right to push those out of the way. And then Whenever we want to start, we push game A or game B. One of them is just slightly more difficult than the other. We're going to do game A, and then all I do is I move I move left and right and immediately get attacked by the octopus. But looks like I can, yeah, all my controls are just move left and right and get to the treasure and then get back. Yes. Oh, nice. And you get points for it, too. So I take control of the scuba diver. Oh, but if the tentacles get me, then the octopus has got me. So great mechanic. I love it. Can I get more? Oh, I can. So I can stay there and get more points. And if you see the tentacles, how they drop to the edge, that's how you play. You don't want to get caught when the tentacle is at the edge. So this is pretty cool. This one feels... Oh, it got me. So you have to pay attention to the tentacles, and I like this. This is pretty good. One of the better examples of the Game & Watch. Oh, and there we go. We just watch myself get strangled whenever I die. All right, so again, trying it again. This is game mode A. B will just be a little bit more difficult. Oh, they got me. This is nice. They're adding kind of a risk-reward element to the Nintendo Game & Watch. I like it. Let's see if I can get back. Go, go. Oh, I didn't grab enough in time. So going back again. No. They got me again. That octopus. Yep, there you go. So I gathered the points and then... Okay, so you get some points just for getting to the treasure and then you get more for coming back. Very cool. Okay, I love it. Still a time waster, but I'd give this one as the best Nintendo Game & Watch we've played. Just a notch, a slight nod to the other ones that we've seen. That's excellent. Okay, so that's Octopus for the Nintendo Game & Watch. So for the time, out of all the other handhelds we've played, it's still not really up in the best handheld you could ever play, but it's still very good. One of the better Nintendo Game & Watches we played. I'm going to go for a 4-star rating on that one. The originality of it, and it's some of the elements we've seen from Nintendo Game & Watch, but just a little bit better. That's great. So 4 stars for Octopus. After that, what is our next title? Next one we're going to check out is on the TRS-80 Color computer. This is Project Nebula. Let's take a look at the artwork for Project Nebula, the newest release on your Coco. There's the cartridge, front and back, and that's pretty much it with a screenshot. Interesting, the graphics look like a Commodore PET, the green overlay. Let's see the manual for Project Nebula. All right, so here we go. This is very bizarre artwork. What is Project Nebula? Project Nebula is yours, Commander. And as usual, they give us the copyright information, declaration of eminent domain, heed the order of Zycon. We've been saving a lot of galaxies and planets lately on that start with the letter Z here on Chronologically Gaming. Commandant of the Imperial Fleet of Lord Scylla, ruler of 6 galaxies. Whereas your galaxy has been scheduled for colonization by civilization during this century, and what is this? Zycon? This sounds like a proclamation. Oh, it is. It's a declaration of eminent domain. Surrender never. To start your mission, prepare your ship for Project Nebula. Make sure the joysticks are properly connected to your computer. Oh, better make sure I do that. Turn on the TV, insert Project Nebula cartridge in the slot on the right side of the computer, then turn the computer on. When the title appears, press any key to continue. To prepare for your mission, you'll probably need some target practice, so you can do target shoot beginner and target shoot with speed, and there's 10 degrees of difficulty for each flight level. In the first level, the enemy ships... Oh, thank you. Oh, it does need to. Okay, good. I got both of them plugged in just in case. Your ship will move at slow cruising speed throughout the testing, and since the enemy ships won't shoot back in this level, watch them for a moment to get used to their speed and look at the indicators across the bottom. We also have 2 different gauges, short range sensors. On the left, look in front of your ship, and the right looks behind. As enemy ships move from the rear to the front, the blips will disappear from the right sensor and appear on the left. Numbers on the left gauge tell the coordinates of your ship in relation to enemy ships. The top number is the location of your ship. Okay, so it's giving us the radar breakdown, how it works. The number between the gauges tells the amount of power remaining, and all levels start at 8,000 units of power. The bar below this number is like a gas gauge. As your power decreases, the line becomes smaller. In level 4, you'll be able to tell when your ship is damaged by the appearance of 2 small squares just above the power number. So it is a space combat game or space flight game. It looks like you get points for the ships you hit, and then all levels you use the right joystick to place enemy ships within your sights. Remember that the sight is part of your ship that you're trying to move. Your up and down movement are like movements in an old stick-controlled airplane. So up is down and down is up. To fire at the enemy, press the fire button. Of course. You may keep the button down or rapid fire to pick your shots. Remember, each time you fire, you use 16 units of power. Okay, so it uses the same energy. And then we see with level 2, it's showing how to shoot with speed. And then the level 3 is Star Commander, and this you use the long-range sensor to decide which sector you'll enter and go to a space station to renew your power. Oh, okay, long-range sensor, so not as complex as something like Star Raiders for the Atari 800, but looks like it still is a space combat game. And it shows you how you approach the space station to gain more energy. And then we have Star Commander Advanced, level 4. This one, when your ship is damaged, you can leave the sector through hyperspace. And they show you how to get hyper ion masers, deflectors, short-range sensors, long-range sensors. And then how to win at level 4 is enter hyperspace at any time you get trouble finding a space station to repair damage. Remember, the key is to take your time. If your power gets too low or you receive damage, go to a space station. You have time. The enemy won't attack Earth until your ship is destroyed. And there you go. That is the manual for Project Nebula. Let's boot it up. It is July 20th, 1981. And this is the newest game we could play for the TRS-80 Coco. Presents Project Nebula. Forward and back radar. All right, so here we go. Which game do we want to play? Let's start with just a target shoot and see what it feels like. Enter difficulty factor. Let's try factor 5. All right, so right off the bat, I can feel, if you look on the bottom screen, it's pretty cool how using the analog controls. The bottom left radar, we have the front and behind, and as the ships go forward and back, look how they pass from radar to radar. The sound, though, I don't know how well it's coming through. It sounds just like an old Model 1 car that I'm driving in right now. Oh, and there's my laser blast. In the center of the screen, I can see... Oh, nice. I can see my energy levels going up or down, depending on how I'm flying. But the analog control is pretty cool. Whenever it feels... There we go, got one of those guys. Oh, you can see the explosion of them. And that's pretty good for target practice. Let me go back to the other one. I'll just quit at it. It does sound more like static. I'm with you on that one. All right, let's try the different game mode. I want to see... We'll go all the way to level 4. Even though I'm sure it takes some more practice for it. All right, so we're going with Star Commander Advanced. Which difficulty factor? Let's do 1 and see what it's like. So here we go. This is first time we're playing, and it's not giving me the analog control. Like, I was able to see the radar changing up and down with precise accuracy. But yeah, the sound effects, not really going anything crazy. We do hear the sound effects of the lasers, but I think they're going more for the feeling of being in space, because that does feel pretty cool with the analog controls. And, oh yeah, that's right, we're supposed to warp. Long range and short range. And for this one, you have to find the person, or find the place we need to go. So we go to the manual again, and go back to Star Commander Advanced. Oh, we have different places that our ship can be damaged. And then it tells us that we need to go leave the sector through hyperspace. So does it say how to do hyperspace? Choose a sector. Oh, Z is the long-range sensor, so you do Z and then H. Okay, so here we go. Let's try it out. Z. There we go. Oh, cool. Oh, nice. So you can pick which sector you want to go to. And it also shows over here where our ship, how much our ship is damaged. And then the purple looks like space station. So if we try going to one... Looks like my analog is going nuts right now. And then we push S. Or A. Wait, what was it again? Z to go to long-range sensors. And then we want Z and it's H. That's right. Of course it is. Why wouldn't it be H? All right, so coming back again. Uh-oh, I think I hit the brake key on accident. Yes, it's back. Usually whenever this happens, the game just ends for us. All right, there we go. So going into hyperspace now. to execute the command. Cool, and we're there. And you can see we have enemies that are coming at us now. Oh, and asteroids too. Very cool. Well, I gotta say, this is still kind of putting a slight bad taste in my mouth, considering we played like Star Raiders on Atari 800, but they have the same feel of let's go to different star systems, warp there, attack enemies, and then you have damage report you can do. Oh man, the screen flashes is crazy. Looks like @ symbols that are coming at us. Oh, that's them firing at us. That's right, because we only did the first way to play. There we go. I'm getting some of them. Get them. And if I wanted to, I could do... Okay, it looks like nothing's damaged right now. But right in the middle of battle, I can warp wherever I would want around the galaxy. So cool. All right, that was Project Nebula. That's pretty fun for the Coco. Considering everything else we played up to that point, it's around... I'd say around still average for what you see. Considering the other space shooters we've seen for Apple II and for the Atari home computer, I'm going to go probably 3 stars, but the sound effects weren't super incredible. Same with the laser fire and the way the ship sounded. So I still could go about 3 stars. So around the average of what you'd see for a typical space shooter on a home computer for the time. But if I was only had a Coco and this is the game I would play, yes, I would spend a long time with this one. All right, so after Project Nebula, our next release is Kaboom. This is also for the Atari 2600. Lots of releases we've seen that were previewed in Analog Computing and the Atari Connection. This one's, of course, based on the arcade game. Let's take a look at the artwork for Kaboom. Another one by Activision. Is the hand quicker than the eye? Try your hand against our speedy Mad Bomber. And it looks like the charming Mad Bomber doesn't mean any harm. It's just that he loves nothing better than to drop his bombs and watch them explode. Only you can stop him. Controlled with the paddle controllers. All Activision video games are covered by Activision's 1-year warranty. Well, if you buy an Activision game in 1982, I don't know what would happen after that. But it is 1981, so we're in good hands right now. And there you go, advertisement flyer by Activision. You better be quick or else. You think you're pretty fast? Just try taking on our bomber. Some say he's unbeatable because the better you get, the faster he gets. And that makes Kaboom one of the toughest games you'll ever plug into your Atari or Sears video game system. Yeah, they're still calling the other one the Sears system. That's the Sears Tele... Oh, I don't remember the name right now. But you think you can handle him? Go ahead, try and beat the bomber. It's Kaboom. There you go. Conceived and designed by Larry Kaplan. Way to go, Larry. For enjoyment on your Atari VCS. So 2 game modes, just a 1-player game or a 2-player game. Kaboom. All right, let's take a look at the manual for Kaboom, the newest release by Activision. Prepare yourself for a supreme test of reflexes, coordination, and agility. You're about to face the world's most unpredictable, relentless Mad Bomber. Anybody remember the advertisement on TV when, I forget the name of the actor. He ran out in a black and white, like a prison uniform and had the bomb blowing everything up. That's the Mad Bomber. All right, so instructions. Looks like we got 2 different game modes on this one. Set difficulty switch to B and use the paddle controller, start a new game, and scoring. If you've seen when we played in the arcade, it was originally released in the 70s. So this is the same formula, but with a new coat of paint. It actually looks better than it did in the 70s for your home Atari. When you miss a bomb, all bombs explode and you lose a bucket. Lose all 3 buckets and game is over. For the 2-player game, you take turns. So it's alternating play, not simultaneous play for a 2-player game. And then special features, sooner or later you're going to miss a bomb, and when you do, all the bombs explode and you lose a bucket. And the Mad Bomber expresses his happiness. Then depending on which bomb group you miss, the level of difficulty of bombs dropped affected as follows. So we're going to keep it on the default difficulty switch. So if you miss a bomb in group 4, you'll restart and play group 3 and need to only catch 15 bombs. They're kind of overcomplicating this, the manual at least. This is one of those Atari games that you could pop in and play and no one would need to explain it to you. You would understand it right off the bat. So this is explaining scores, and then I want to know how to get... There's a method to the madness, and the more you play, the more you'll see it. Bombs fall a certain way, but don't try to aim and line up your buckets after each bomb. Try to get a feeling for, oh, this is how to play, or the tips and tricks. There we go. I was like, what is the Activision Bucket Brigade is for this one? If you get 999,999 points, send us a photo. And this is one of those things that Activision, I think they used to do physical patches that you could put and sew on your clothes. You could join the Activision Bucket Brigade. And there he is, Larry Kaplan, designer of Bridge, which we didn't really do that one justice for all those Bridge fans out there. But yeah, there he is, Larry Kaplan. And he says all you have to do is you need reflexes, endurance, and concentration. Okay, thanks, Larry. We'll get right on that. All right, for different versions, we have the European version and then one released by CCE and a hack. We're going to play the first release. It's July 25th, 1981, and this is Kaboom for the Atari 2600, the newest release. So I'm solo today, so I won't be playing with anyone else, but this is basically how the game works. You see the paddle controls at the bottom, really smooth controls. But whenever you play, you just move it back and forth and try to catch all the bombs before they drop. And after you finish the round, then you push the button when you're ready to go again, and it just goes crazier and crazier. But I love the paddle control. Nice. It feels so good. Reminds me of the same way when you play Breakout for the first time on the Atari 2600. It's great. Oh yeah, now we're getting really crazy. You just go round by round trying to get the highest score. And if you see here, my score currently is 128. Oh, I got one down. 137. To be on the Bucket Brigade, you would need 999,999. That's insane. How long would you have to play to be on the Bucket Brigade? Did anyone, either in YouTube or in the chat, did anyone make the Bucket Brigade and get all those points? Very nice. So that's pretty much all we got. Those are the two game modes for Kaboom. So newest release by Activision. It is pretty average for what you see at the time. It is fun, but it's one of those good time wasters. It doesn't have a whole lot to go for it, but I also understand that at the time, in 1981, the arcade game and that kind of feel of let's sit down and play a game that has a very simple premise that you can get into and get in the zone was a good way to go. And so this is very average for what you'd see at the time. I don't want to really go any higher than that because it's only two different game modes and it's not really giving us something that we haven't seen before either. But it's still a solid release for the Atari. So we're going to go 3 stars for Kaboom. Good to know. All right, so after Kaboom, our next release is Warp and Warp in the arcade. Let's see what Warp and Warp is about. Here's the artwork for Warp and Warp. There's our advertisement flyer. Looks like, oh, designed by Namco. And this is the advertisement flyer by Rockola. The challenge of 2 worlds, Warp and Warp. Pretty cool that they're giving you the actual pixel art of the characters on the advertisement flyer. Love it. Warp and Warp. There's our arcade cabinet for Warp and Warp and a PCB for the control panel. It has instructions too. Fight monsters in 2 different worlds, the space world or the maze world. To challenge worlds, move fighter into flashing warp and warp. And we have a 4-way joystick, it looks like, with the fire and bomb button. And that's it. Yeah, that's all we got for the controls. There's our arcade marquee for Warp and Warp. Warp Warp. And no manual for this one. For other versions, we have the Rockola set. We're going to play the original Namco release in Japan. So this is July 30th, 1981. And this is the newest release by Namco in the arcades. Warp and Warp. And around the outside, we have the Rockola artwork. I don't think most people knew about the Bucket Club for Kaboom unless they had the manual. But to get that many points, that's crazy. You have to be really good. All right, so for artwork, looks like we have only the Rocco artwork around the outside. We'll go ahead and keep that up. Have something that looks pretty cool. All right, yeah, I've never seen this one in the arcades. I've played one on the ZX Spectrum as a port, and I played the one that they had at home. But no, the original arcade I have not. So here you go, first chance at Warp and Warp. Let's put a coin in and push and start. All right, so I'm in the center of the screen. Very cool. I gotta kill all the smiley faces around the outside. But it's a top-down... It's a top-down shooter. It is single screen, but still pretty cool. And it looks like they're already starting to shoot me with something. And is that the warp? Yes, let's warp and warp. So we go into the other dimension. Oh, and they're coming at me. Oh, now we have... Oh, in the other dimension, I am not shooting anymore. Now I drop bombs. Sweet. All right, let's lay some bombs then. No way. I don't believe this. This game is playing, at least this mode, is playing like Bomberman before Bomberman. They don't just run over them like mines. They have timers, and they go off. And can we make it? Oh, no, he's going to go for me. Okay, I think we warped. Okay, we warped back. So this is pretty cool. This is two different game modes. You have like a shooter mode and then a bomb mode. And the bomb mode is so fresh. I forgot about that as being the first game similar to Bomberman. But if I remember correctly, Bomberman was first on the PC 6001 in Japan by Hudson. So I wonder if Hudson took the idea of Warp and Warp, or maybe someone else did, but that bomb idea was pretty cool. All right, let's go. Warp and Warp. We're going in. So now we go into the bomb mode. This is too cool. I thought Bomberman was one of the first that did this, but Warp and Warp is the first one. Oh, and they go back into the other side. So it looks like when we're able to warp, it still retains the same enemies. And I gotta tell you, this plays and shoots better than the other top-down shooter we saw, which was Sheriff or Bandito by Nintendo. And it controls better than that one. It feels better, even though it is a four-way joystick, and every now and then I get kind of caught up on the four-way controls, but it's typical for the time. After playing so many 8-way joystick arcade games, it does take a little bit to get used to, but I've been playing so many back in the 80s that it feels normal at this point. Yeah, it's a mix of Wizard of War. It's true. It's like the yeah, I'm feeling Wizard of War, Targ. Well, Targ felt more like a head-on because it was constantly moving. This one feels like I'm controlling someone. You know, I can move left and right freely without going on a track. But yeah, the grid view is pretty cool. Oh man, they're going nuts. I don't think I can get this guy. Oh, I can get him there. Go, 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 go. Nope. Awesome. And then it warps me back automatically, right, when I've cleared out? Yes. And if you look around the outside of the screen, those are the amount of people I have left to kill. We didn't get the manual, so we didn't get a full description of the game, like how it works, but from playing it, this is awesome. The two different game modes are incredible. Can't believe that we found a game before Bomberman, or at least on the Japanese home computer space. Because at this point we have, I believe the NEC has a system out, and Fujitsu has a computer out in Japan. But as far as like games being programmed for them, people are messing around with them in Japan, but nothing has really come out as a release yet. So there's probably homebrew stuff in Japan that's happening. And we already know with the arcades, Japan's the one that's bringing out the coolest arcade games so far. Well, Atari's still up there. Atari's still picking up the slack. But we're getting some really creative stuff from Japan. And this is a testament, too. The newest by Namco. Namco and Taito are doing some really great stuff. Well, I was doing pretty good on a roll there, and it's giving me a lot that I can play with on 1/4, which is really nice. And you can see the enemies coming out from the top corners of the screen to show me what's left. They're gonna let me warp. Oh, and then they speed up like crazy. We got a new enemy here. It won't let me warp yet. And there we go. Warp, warp. Looks like Japanese for warp, which I believe was on the advertisement flyer. Oh, I forgot where we switched to bombs. And the game over. So cool. All right, let's zoom it in and let's see what different aspect ratio we have. So we'll go with this one and one more try at Warp and Warp by Namco. Here we go. Really loving the two different game modes, the shooting mode and the bomb mode. Awesome. The graphics, though, remind me of something we could have played on a home computer. Not in Japan, but in North America. And I like how you can see how many enemies are left that are going to be coming in from the corners of the screen. And if I want to, like if I'm having trouble, I can warp to the other world, and then in the other world, now we're doing bombs with new enemies. If they're going to come from the corners, why not just bomb the corners, right? How many can I lay at a time? Looks like... Oh, that's pretty cool. Is that 4? I think I do 4 bombs at a time. Extra firepower for Warp and Warp. I don't know why, but the guy makes me feel like I'm playing as Dig Dug for some reason. But we haven't seen Dig Dug yet. Oh, I can blow myself up. I forgot about that. Whoops. Yeah, the single color sprites kind of give me the vibe of early computer, but for the arcade game and the creativity, something that's really pushing this game for me. Yes, there we go. And it's another one of those games that you want to play more. I want to keep going and play more. It doesn't have the drive like we saw from like Scramble or Super Cobra, where it has levels, where you want to see the next level or continue to play the game to see what's next. This one is the drive to play more because the gameplay's so fun. Switching between shooting and bombing is excellent. All right, so it's... Oh, I was going to say it's getting too heavy. I'm going to go warp. But no, we gamed over. That's awesome. So not just 2 different screens, but 2 different modes to play on. That is awesome. Okay, so for the time, that's definitely above average. It's way up there. Not considered, I would say, the best game we could possibly play in the arcades at the time, but it's definitely 4 or 4.5 stars, considering the originality and the way that it's switching the game modes out. So I'm gonna go for we'll go 4.5 stars. I'm surprised. Honestly, I'm doing 4.5 because I didn't know that we had a Bomberman before Bomberman, and it worked really well. It was awesome. Okay, so 4.5 stars for Warp and Warp. After that one, what is our next game? Our next game is, oh, fantastic. I'm glad we could talk about this one. The next release is Yosaku, which was on the Epoch Cassette Vision, which was the one of the very first home consoles in Japan. So this is our very first example of a home console in Japan. Sadly, though, I'm doing this as a tribute. We are not able to play the Epoch Cassette Vision. There currently is no emulator or way to play it. We have a single screenshot of Yosaku, which is you play as the orange guy in the center and you just chop the trees down. It had graphics very similar and a similar microprocessor as the Atari 2600. And as far as I know, there's no way you can play the Epoch Cassette Vision, and it's even hard to find people playing an actual system itself. But one of the reasons why I put it on the channel, even though we're not going to play it, is the Epoch Cassette Vision is so influential that even to this day in Japan, they refer to video games when they're released as cassettes. And the same way that in North America, we refer to them as cartridges, because Nintendo was telling us it's a cartridge. When a new game comes out, a video game in format is called cassette, and was popularized by the Epoch. They did that first, and that's why I wanted to show it here. All right, so from what I've been told, graphics look similar to the Atari 2600. And there's the example of the front of the box for Yosaku. And there's very hard to find these artwork for it, but there it is, the cartridge for it, and an example of the screenshot. And that's all we have, but I just wanted to showcase the Epoch cassette vision. So we'll see a few other releases in Japan, and this lets you know that in Japan right now in 1981, they're playing games similar to Atari 2600 at home. So that's what's being played in Japan. After Yosaku. So for rating this one, I really can't rate it because, you know, we're not able to play it or check it out. But we'll move on to our next release, which is another big one. So at the same time, while in Japan they're playing their home console, back in North America, Asteroids is released for the Atari 2600. Another very good title to play. Let's take a look at the artwork for Atari's Asteroids. 66 video games on this. Hyperspace thrust control, 1 and 2 player. This is another big one that we heard about in Analog Computing and Atari Connection. And for the back of the box, your spaceship is trapped in a deadly asteroid belt. You'll have to destroy the drifting asteroid boulders before they destroy your spaceship. But watch out for enemy spacecraft. Fire your missiles to destroy the boulder and the enemy. And controlled with the Atari joystick. This program contains additional versions for young children. Does that mean the other one we had, Missile Command? I think it did too. Because in the manual it said it had 2 game modes you could play that slowed everything down. And I think it had the same sticker in the top right corner. All right, there we go for Asteroids. Yes, and there it is, our cartridge for Asteroids. 1981. And some random picture of Asteroids, why not? All right, let's take a look at the manual for Asteroids. The game program instructions. Yes, it looks like Atari's doing a special feature with the little teddy bear right there to say that we have features for the younger kids that can play too. Too funny. All right, so Cosmic Space Patrol. Man, the artwork is so cool. On a quiet, serene evening, Cosmic Space Patrol sets out the usual night cruise through boulevards of space. First of all, wait, there's a story to Asteroids? I didn't even know that. At least they made one up. This beat was always the same, calm, no action, no excitement. For some reason, this night feels different. Shortly before 0200 hours, some form of intergalactic material is sighted through the visual particle counter. The material is too large a mass to measure. It's drifting closer. Look out, it's a giant asteroid boulder and it's headed straight for the cosmic spacecraft. The only chance for survival is to dodge the boulder or destroy it. Destroying it doesn't mean just breaking it up, it means vaporizing it. Small asteroid boulders are equally as fatal as large ones. Whew, the boulder just missed colliding with the cosmic spacecraft, but suddenly the Cosmic Space Patrol find themselves surrounded by thousands of deadly asteroids. The Cosmic Space Patrol must act quickly to save their spacecraft and spare their lives. The spacecraft is equipped with photon torpedoes, hyperspace shields, and flip control. The Cosmic Space Patrol is highly trained to handle the situation. Could you do as good a job as the Cosmic Space Patrol? If you were caught in a deadly asteroid belt, this is your big chance to fly through the dimensions of space and fend against asteroid boulders. The longer you survive, the more space hazards you'll encounter. That is hilarious. As a kid in 1981, I would have read that and been in the cosmic spacecraft. Too cool. So gameplay is, it's Asteroids, but from the home Atari 2600. So we have different ways to operate your joystick, and we have the game select switch, which I believe they had 64 different game modes. How many did they say they had? A lot. 33 different game modes. And then we have the reset switch is how you start the game up. And then difficulty switches, we have A and B. A is the bigger challenge with the addition of UFOs and satellites. And looks like B is the normal gameplay. And then they have up here the different screenshots of what it's like to shoot your spaceship, your score, and examples of different things. So cool to have that. I love checking out the manuals. And then the black and white TV switch does nothing. What you get for your score in the game. Now, even someone who had played these in the later 80s on the Atari, I never really still got into scoring. Like I don't think I could see myself looking at the manual and wanting to plot out, okay, large asteroids, 20 points. Okay, good. Okay, medium asteroids, 50 points. Okay, let me mark that down. I remember that. I don't think I'd ever get into what the point is, which points are what. Just start shooting everything in the game. So for game variations, we got 66 game variations for 1 or 2 players. And then fast and slow, we have different lives you can play as, and then there were different features. We have the hyperspace feature in games 1 through 8, and 34 through 41 for 2 players. And then we have shields, and then flips your spaceship, so it just does a 180 the other direction. And then we have 2-player options and variations, and then the young children versions, games 33 and 66, are easy versions. These feature slow asteroids, hyperspace, and an extra ship. And then we also have helpful hints. How to play asteroids better. Do you want to play asteroids better? How to read the game select matrix. And then over here on the side, I know it's a little sideways, but that's how you'd find out what game do you want to play and what do you want to have. 1 player, speed, extra life, and then features, and if you want to have 2 players. That's how you pick the one you wanted. What I do miss, though, is it's not an Activision manual. We didn't hear from Larry Kaplan or David Crane or who wrote it, because Atari didn't want anyone to know. All right, so for different versions, we have a lot. We have the European version, the hack Arcade Asteroids, Asterhawk, lots of different hacks for Asteroids because of how popular it is, Asteroids Deluxe, and then Borg Wars Asteroids. All right, we're going to play the first release. It is sometime in July. We're going to say July 31st, 1981, and this is Asteroids for your Atari 2600. So for the first game, first way we're going to play, we're just going to do the usual one. And if I take control of the spaceship in the center, I don't know how well the flicker looks through the video, but I have to move my thruster forward, I just move the joystick up instead of a separate button like it was in the arcades. And I've already died. Those small asteroids got me. But if you notice, this is not running first with vector graphics like the Atari arcade game, and it's not running with physics of the asteroids. The asteroids kind of just appear and split from before. Let's see how fast I can speed this up. maybe too much. That was too fast. Yeah, you can tell the flicker's pretty bad. If we switch to black and white, what does that do? Oh, my black and white isn't working. That's weird. Usually I can switch to the black and white setting. Oh, it said in the manual. It told us the black and white doesn't do anything. But there we go. Cosmic Space Patrol has died. All right, so let's check out a different game mode. We have game mode 2, 3, 4. Let's go 5. Yeah, and it's just going to up the difficulty, but you can tell every time I break an asteroid apart, it's not making the physics of it flying away. It just kind of sticks to, or follows the same trajectory. I actually played the first one in the arcade myself, and whenever I played this at home, I felt it was honestly too easy. Because you can notice right here, since there's not as much physics, I'm standing in one spot and I'm just shooting the asteroids away, and they're not flying in different directions or using the physics they did in the arcade. I'm just saying, Atari, you shouldn't have got rid of David Crane and Larry Kaplan and all the other guys that formed Activision. You got someone that can program, oh, go, and maybe put physics in, because if you remember in 1979, there was another release for the Atari 2600 that it was before the release of Asteroids in the arcade, where you controlled a ship just like this, and they were trying to make it like Space Wars, which was originally on a mainframe computer, but they were trying to use the same physics for the Atari, and it worked well. It was pretty good. Yeah, you notice how I can just stay in one spot and I can kind of predict where the asteroids are going to go? There we go. Let's check out another game mode. Looks like this is all for single player. If we do 2-player, I wanted to see if it was alternating. Okay, this one allows you to do the switch. See, I can do the flip of my ship in different directions. That's pretty cool. Just by going the other way. This is still a big release for the time, because even as I'm doing criticisms on it based on the arcade game, this still is really, really fun to play. To have the arcade experience at home, because you could recognize, hey, it's Asteroids. You can tell that I'm playing Asteroids. I will say, though, this is kind of the beginning of the end of the flicker, though. The flicker starts to pay its toll later because as the developers for the Atari 2600 were pushing it further and further, the limits of it, it ended up showing that it wasn't meant to do this. It was only meant to be a single screen game that has, you know, one shot or one bullet and one projectile, and that's it. And they're pushing it pretty far. All right, so let's go to two-player. If we go 23, 24, I think it was 33. Yeah, is this the... No, this is too fast for the kid mode. Okay, so we go to 34. Looks like for two players, well, it's still alternating play, so not simultaneous play. Because if I die with this one, I got my second player controller plugged in, and now it goes, yeah, now with the second player controls and plays alternating, which was the same as the arcade. I always considered it a novelty to have simultaneous play on the Atari. All right, so let's check out, what was the kid mode again? If I wanted to play as kid mode, it is 33 and 66 are supposed to be the kid mode. Let's do 66. Two players as kid. Oh, and you have to keep scrolling through. If you accidentally push the button too many times, you got to do it again. So we'll do 33. And there. All right, so this is supposed to be... Looks like the asteroids are moving the same speed. I thought they'd be moving slower, but maybe they're easier? I can't really tell. Yeah, they say... Oh, I see. The way it breaks apart is easier. Okay, that makes sense. I gotcha. Yeah, the background music in this, I just saw in the chat. Yeah, emulating what we saw or heard in the arcades. Love it, Bubsy. All right, so after that one, this game is interesting because we gave 5 stars to Space Invaders because of not only how good it plays, how many game variations, and then how iconic it is selling Atari systems. The same goes for Missile Command. This one's up there, but not really to the point that it's not a 5-star game. It's not as good as Missile Command. It's still really high, though, for a release, and one of the big things that you could have done back then is have a game that makes you feel like you're playing in the arcades. And they did that, so we're going to do 4.5 stars. Still a very good release. Lots of different game modes that you can play on this one. All right, so after Asteroids, another great title to play on your Atari 2600. What is our next game? Our next game is Beer Run for the Apple II. This can't be a real game. Maybe it's a homebrew game. Let's see if what the images look like for Beer Run. No, it's real. It's someone going for a beer run, using the blimp and dropping the beer down. Programmed by Mark Turmel. In assembly, yeah, for the Apple II. It's a real game. Oh, by Serious Software. That's funny. So Serious Software is the company, I believe, that Nasir Gabelli started up before he did his own Gabelli software. And let's see if we have any other artwork. Or there we go. We got the 5 1/4 floppy disk for Beer Run. Oh, too funny. I can't say it's a Donkey Kong clone. There's no way. We just had Donkey Kong released in Japan. Let's see what this is about. It is some point in July 1981, and we're playing Beer Run for the Apple II. All right, so it looks like it is a cracked version of Beer Run. Most of the things on Apple II are now public domain that you could play yourself. All right, so we want paddle or keyboard. Sure, we'll try paddle controls. Platforms 0. What? Oh, I thought it was selecting which platform, but it looks like it's going to... Oh, these are the platforms. Okay. All right, here we go. So I'm at the bottom of the screen. I can move left and right, and I'm being chased by, I believe... Oh, I can't go up the ladder. You push the button to go up the ladder. And I'm being chased by green blobs, but I do not know my objective. Apparently, I need to find some beer. I'm on a beer run, man. This had to have been programmed by someone in college. Oh, nope. I'm going the wrong way. Go! I don't know if the guy at the top is bad or not. Or am I supposed to... Like, can I touch him? Nope. So I've collected 0 beers. I'm not doing really good with Beer Run. Now wait, so the beers are falling on top of me, but I'm not collecting any beers. Can I collect them? Oh, there we go. As they fall down, this is bizarre, and I want to double check the date on this because this is not copying Donkey Kong. This is copying more like Space Panic, the side view. So I want to verify. I tried to do my best to verify the date, and based on what Serious Software says, yeah, this is around the time, sometime in July when this was released. So it is taking some hints from Space Panic, the side view. Good. I was going to say, if you played it, this would be a great game to play in college. Hey, man, we're going to go play some Beer Run. I don't know what we're playing. Oh, can I go in the door? Or elevator? There we go. So we got 27 beers. We got a 50 beer bonus. This game is great. I would definitely see people playing this as a drinking game in 1981. Oh! Every time you touch the green guys, you gotta take a drink, man. Oh, game over. Cool effect on that one, though. Alright, so let's go again with paddle controls. Looks like we start from the beginning. I only got 24 beers that time. Or every time you collect a beer, you take a drink. Yeah, the control is very simple. It does have paddle control, but it's really not utilizing it very well. Yeah, it could have easily been controlled by a joystick. Maybe they did that just for fun. This feels like a fun project or someone messing around at Serious Software and said, you know, like, I'm going to make a game called Beer Run in my spare time. And he did. And then someone said, oh, yeah, let's do it. And they brought it out just for fun, like it's a joke. Yeah, get it? No. Let's see if I can go up to that ladder, up to the top. And so sound effects really aren't anything to shy about, but it is from a 2D perspective or a side view perspective. And we haven't played too many of those on the channel. There we go, 56 beers. I got the bonus. That's just hilarious. And a novelty. So for Beer Run, it really was a game. It was a real game. For the times, apparently the community voted this really high. It is for the novelty. It's funny, but the way it plays is really not the best. To have a side view is rare. And we just checked out Donkey Kong, which was the second ever game where we're jumping from the side view. And there's no way it was related to that. This is closer to Space Panic, at least the way that you're controlling just left and right. And it looks like you're just doing side shuffles, as if you're already drunk playing Beer Run. But it's okay. I don't really want to say it's like a great game, considering everything else we played for the time. It doesn't really have a lot of sound effects, so I'm gonna go for it's still average. It works. I wouldn't go past average, so I'd go 3 stars, maybe even 2.5. I don't know. We'll go 3 stars for Beer Run. It's cool. It's fun. I'm sure a lot of people had fun with it in 1981. So 3 stars for Beer Run. And with that, we get to leave and pause our epic journey playing every single video game with Beer Run. And then we'll continue playing more video games next time. There's always more games to play. We don't know what we're going to play. We'll see you then. Hey everybody, thanks for checking out the channel and joining me on my quest to play every single video game in order of release. We'll be streaming live every weekday at 9 p.m. Central, so join us and let us know if we miss any games along the way. This video would not be possible without RetroArch and Launchbox. Please tell your friends there's some crazy guy out there trying to play every single video game. You can always check out Chronologically Gaming on YouTube, Twitter, Instagram. Chronologically Gaming is the name to look for. We will catch you next time.